Good morning. This is gonna be like uh, an office hour-ish stream because I have a meeting at 10 o'clock, and yeah, so we got about 45 minutes of time to chat and hang out, and then it's time to run away. Let's see, where are we this morning? Pop the chat out over here. And I'm also going to, what else am I going to do? I'm going to pin a message. Hey, what's up, Stefan? Hello, Stux. What you doing? Just work, man. It's a work day. It's a work day. I need to go to school next week. Oh, nice. Yeah, school's already started here in the States. Well, for most people. There's a couple states that don't start till like September, but for the vast majority, I feel like the vast majority of US states start sometime in August. So everybody here is back to it. Ooh, chest day, nice. I like it. At the end, I realized I was supposed to do legs. You pulled a fast one on yourself there, didn't you? Hello, sir. Would you consider... I don't know what a gooner is. AK Baba 187. Nice username, by the way, buddy. I have no idea what you're talking about. How long is summer vacation in the USA? It's typically like a couple months. Like my kids get out in middle May and then they go back in middle August. So what is that, like 3-ish months, almost 3 months, not quite 3 months, 2 to 3 months. Get them, Stux. Toad says that's a good routine though. Yeah, it's not a bad schedule. Yeah, it's definitely not a bad schedule. All right, AK Baba. Well, I think I'm gonna send you a pack-in. So have a nice life, buddy. Let's put the chat on screen this morning, because I really don't. I really only have like a half hour or so before my next work meeting. Stux Gooner. Nice. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess I learned something new today. I learned something new, which is good. I mean, I'm always up for learning. Toad Sage, by the way, I'm leaving early today. Okay, yeah, no worries, dude. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. You have a good day, man. I hope life is well over there in Japan. I hope the freelance business is going well and all that. So, have yourself a fine Thursday. Ooh, barbecue? Barbecue sounds delicious. Delicious barbecue. Just showed up for my validation. Well, I showed up to try to keep my promise to myself, which is that I was going to try to stream every day. And today is one of those days where there's a lot of meetings. And so I'm just going to try to do the best I can and make it work. I've got a meeting at 10, so I'm trying to get in, 45 minutes this morning, and then my afternoon is pretty chock full of meetings, almost all the way up until my kids come home. So I don't know. And my kids got football practice tonight, so I don't know what my afternoon stream's gonna look like. We're gonna vibe it out, but I think you try to commit to something, you should always strive to stick with it the best you can. Obviously, that's not always the case, but it's nice to make an effort. For some reason, I'm too tired after just doing a little bit of designing, almost no work at all. Some days are like that, man. Other days, you feel tops, and then other days you feel not so productive. So life is full of valleys, peaks and valleys. Parisa? Hello, Parisa. How are you? I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. We have food in the pantry. We got hot running water. No complaints. Hello, Oblivious. What game are you currently playing? So the game I've been playing the most is still Warzone. Although I did play the Battlefield 6 betas this past weekend, and the weekend before last, and that was a ton of fun. So I'm looking forward to the game coming out for officially. It's not some days, it's always. Well, then I think Stuck's at that point. You kind of have to adopt the mindset of like, fuck your motivation, right? Do it when you're sad. Do it when you're mad. Do it when you're happy. Don't let your feelings dictate what you do. Don't follow your feelings. Follow the plan. So if you've got aspirations to sit down and write code, sit down and write code, right? Like I think if this has become like an everyday thing, obviously the way to get unstuck is to just do it anyways. See you, Toad. Have a good day. My tire blew up yesterday. I had to buy 2 new ones. So you were on the road, Stefan, and it blew up? That's awful. I've never had that happen, but it looks scary. Oblivious. This is a gaming channel? No? Not really. It's more like a coding and programming channel at the moment. Before that, it was kind of a vlog channel, and before that, it was fitness related, and in 5 or 10 more years, it might be something else. So it's my channel, and so it's just going to be whatever I want it to be. But I don't do a lot of gaming content at the moment. You play the Battlefield demos? Yeah, for sure. The open betas were really good. Yeah, I thought they were a lot of fun. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I don't think it was better than Warzone. Like I still prefer Call of Duty, but it was good. When I'm going to school again, I'm probably more active because school is just forced labor. I mean, I don't know if I would compare school to forced labor. Personally, I don't think I would compare school to forced labor, but I think I get what you mean. Yeah, I think I get what you mean. What type of coding do I do? Most things I build are web development related. Like I like building console applications, but if I'm building like a full stack solution, then it's typically web development related. And then my favorite programming languages are C# and TypeScript. Those Those are the two languages I like a lot. I've been trying to learn Go because I want to do Advent of Code this year using Go. That's kind of one of the goals I set for this year. So we'll see. We'll see if we get it done. It's high school, almost final year. Then I follow up for IT, ICT, CS, and then college. Yeah, the educational road is a long road, man. It is a long, long road. Donut place. You should get an electric bike and become a biking YouTuber. I would love to have. That's actually I have in my Amazon cart as we speak. No, not Amazon, not in the cart, but saved for later. Is an e-bike. I really, really want an e-bike. I don't. We only have one car. My family only has one car. So when my wife is back at work and the kids are back in school, they have the van most days, and I work from home. So that means I'm pretty much stuck here unless I want to walk someplace. But we don't live like there's not like a coffee shop close to me. The closest coffee shop is like a 45-minute walk. So I would love to have an e-bike for times like this during the day where like I could still be somewhat mobile, not totally trapped at home. So maybe at some point. I always really liked the Super 73 e-bikes. They're a little expensive, but they look like a lot of fun. I'm doing CS at uni. Very cool, man. That's awesome. Is the computer science market as doom and gloom as they say? No, it's not. Don't pay attention to all that hype. If you like computer science, do computer science. There's gonna be jobs and opportunities for you. Obviously, you're gonna have to hustle. Like they're not just nobody's just gonna show up and be like, "Hey, want a job?" You're gonna have to hustle a little bit. But yeah, I do not think it's all doom and gloom. Despite whatever, I think what you're feeling is you're feeling the effect of well over several hundred billions of dollars being pumped into an industry in a particular technology, and there is a huge amount of effort making sure that the people who invested that capital see a return on it. Right? And for some of these companies, it's kind of existential, right? When you look at OpenAI and Anthropic, these are companies that are not profitable, that have to continue to raise huge amounts of dollars to stay alive, lest they be eaten by their bigger brothers like Microsoft and AWS. So I think a lot of that feeling in the market is there's a lot of capital at work to make it feel like developers, programmers, people with technical skills are useless and everyone should be using AI. Like that is incentives, market incentives at play. So you'll be just fine. Donut plays. I got my first e-bike a couple weeks ago. Very cool. Do you like it? Tell me about your e-bike. Because I've never actually ridden one. I've seen lots of people ride them. Actually, the first person I saw ride it was Casey Neistat in his vlogs, and ever since like seeing his, I've been like, I want one. What's up, YOLO Gamer Pro? How are you? Hello, Arvin. How are you doing? Musa, what do you usually work on? So right now I'm doing this very manual, repetitive task of basically going through. So the piece of software I work on, it's kind of a no-code platform, which means users can sort of define their own data schema. However, which means we basically have like distinct types of fields to capture data. But that also means whenever we implement a new feature, you have to understand how the feature plays with all the different types of fields, right? So it's like one new feature, but times in basically whatever number of fields. And so right now I'm currently going through the very exciting work of building a spreadsheet of test cases, which is not fun, but it's necessary, where you just have to kind of enumerate things out. But most of my days it varies. Some days I'll be helping help with support issues. Some days I'll be doing automated testing. Some days it's manual stuff like this. Just varies. How many school stages do you have in the USA? In the Netherlands, we have first basic school from 4 to 13, then high school from 13 to 17, 18, 19, then HBO/MBO, then college. Yeah, in the United States, it's pretty simple. You have elementary school, which is like kindergarten to fifth in most places. You have middle school, which is 6th to 8th in most places. And then you have high school, which is 9th to 12th grade. And then what people do after 12th grade is up to them. They can go to college, they can get a job, right? Like at that point, you're 18, you're an adult. So I know for me as a parent, my expectation for my sons is when they turn 18, they need to have a plan for their life, what they're going to go and do next. If that involves college, great. If it doesn't, no worries, but it needs to be something. And I'm going to lean very heavily on making sure that they get moved out and start to create a life of their own. I think that's super important. I think it was super important for me in my growth as a young adult was to get out of my parents' house, stand on my own 2 feet, pay my own bills, make my own way. I think there's a lot of character development that happens. And so, yeah, I'm going to lean on my sons to do the same. Not in like a pressure, like get out of my house, I don't care what happens to you anymore kind of way, but in a more of like a supportive coach way of like, this is the next step. This is what's good for you. This is what's going to make you a better human being, a better person, a better man. I'm here to help and support you, but you're going to have to make your own place in this world. Sprite, can you do a British accent? No, I cannot. I cannot do any accents. Donut Place, it goes 20 miles per hour and the battery lasts a very long time. You should definitely buy one. They are so fun and useful. Donut Place, would you mind linking me the e-bike you bought if you like yours? Either in the Discord. Can you do it in my Discord? Like, would you mind joining our Discord and just, I mean, you can join, I'll prove you, you can join, drop the link and then get out if you want. But I would love to know what brand you bought, because that's the one thing I've worried about is the battery. Like, I don't want something that I have to baby the battery, you know. YOLO gamer, do you jump on that trampoline when you get bored? No, this is so my youngest son, I always say he kind of has a noisy body, meaning he doesn't sit still very much. Like, and it's not like in a like a hyperactive way. It's more of just like he has high levels of what we call NEAT. So there's this term in exercise science called non-exercise adaptive thermogenesis, which just basically means the level of activity you have in your day that's not exercise related, right? Just moving your body generally through the day. Some people have really high levels of NEAT. Some people have really low levels of NEAT. The working theory and evidence points to a lot of this being genetics or epigenetic related, but my youngest son has very high levels of NEAT. So we've tried to structure our house so that we have lots of things for him to get that noise out, right? So he jumps on the trampoline. He has like a big giant crash pad that he can jump on. He has something called a nugget, which is basically like 2 big foam pads that he can do gymnastics, crazy parkour stuff on. But that's why the trampoline's back there, is because I'm a 32-year-old dad of 2, and so most of my house is engineered around my family. Hello, Suicide Redemption. That username is either, I don't know how to feel about that username. Positive, negative, I guess it depends. Wondering what the AI recommend this time? I have no idea what you're talking about. I got it as a gift, but I can tell you that it is the Electric 2.0. It's a little pricey though. That's okay. I'm okay with, like, I would buy a Super 73 or I would buy a more expensive e-bike if it meant it was nicer. I'm okay with that. Okay, so electric doesn't seem like it's as expensive as Super 73, but they look nice. I kind of want an e-bike with like the fat tire look. That's kind of the aesthetics that I like. This they make looks like Electric makes kind of different ones. They make a off-road, a cruise, a commuter, a family bike. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh yeah, they make a fat tire one. Nice. Yeah, thanks for the recommendation, man. I'll have to check this out. I do really want one. It's on my bucket list. See you, Stefan. Have a good day, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Sorry, it's a song name by Metallica. Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't listened to much Metallica. I mean, I'm not saying your username there's an issue with your username. I just, suicide, you never know if that's like a positive or a negative. Generally it's a negative thing, but then you pair it with redemption and then it's like, oh, it's kind of positive, so. Tyler, you don't look 32. Really? What do you think? So do you think I look older? Cuz I feel like when I look at myself in the mirror, I feel like I look old. uh but if other people disagree with that, that's fine too. It's just, but I swear I'm 32. I'm a 32-year-old dad of two, born in 1993. I'm part of that generation that is like, I'm part of that generation that's between like I grew up without a cell phone. I really didn't have a computer growing up. I mean, we had computers in our house, but I didn't use them. Like I didn't have a Facebook account until I was 16. I didn't have a smartphone until I was 19 or 20, right? So I'm like millennial, but like I'm on the young, I think I'm on the young edge of millennial. I don't know which. I think depending on who you talk to, you could push me into one generation or the other. But I knew a life before tech, right? And then I knew an adolescence or a young adulthood with tech. Think of it as the archetype. Okay, fair enough. Stuck season 32. He's just a little boy that looks 25. No, I swear I'm 32. I have a blue one, and the tires are fat. It is good for going up bricks. Very cool. Well, I'm definitely going to check out that brand donut place, so I appreciate it. Suicide Redemption. I love your content, by the way. Thanks, man. That's super kind. That's super, super kind of you to stop by and drop that in the chat. I try to make content that I find interesting. And it's largely selfishly. It's about me sharing the things I'm learning and the things I'm working on. But if other people enjoy it and maybe get some value out of it, that's great. And I appreciate you stopping by and let me know. 27 at most. Yeah, no. It might be like the roundness in my face. I carry at the moment I carry quite a bit of extra weight on my frame that I probably need to get rid of sooner than later. So maybe as I thin out at some point I'll look older. Juicebox, same bro. I was born 1990. Yeah, see, there you go. 1990. My sister was born in 91. I was born in 93. My brother was in 95. So we're in that. It's funny because we're in the generation. We're a part of the generation who didn't really grow up with technology per se. Maybe it was in the home, but it wasn't really part of our everyday life. And then as we became, high school, college, young adults, technology then became a huge part of our life. But it's funny because in the workplace, people largely assume that I grew up glued to an iPad or glued to a phone, which just wasn't the case. So I usually get well, what's the term? I usually get identified as the wrong generation in the workplace. Stux, you look like a friend of mine, but just an older version of him. Nice. Well, maybe whatever genetics I have are common. I had a Game Boy, the brick one, for years. Got a PC at 18. Yeah, my first laptop I got at 18 when I went to college. My dad got me a laptop for college. It was one of those white MacBooks, and it could dual boot between Windows and Mac, which was pretty cool. My dad was the IT guy at our high school, so he had some tech skills. Which is so weird because growing up, my dad was in IT, but never once did I ever consider a career or think about a career in technology. It's really strange. See you, Donut Place. Appreciate you subbing, man. Have fun on your e-bike. Suicide. It's the baby face. Yeah, I think if I was a little bit thinner, I probably would I would probably age myself a little bit. It was more for work, as my dad said games were bad. Yeah, my that was the my and so my like I said, my dad was in IT, and my dad was not a fan of using computers for gaming either. Which I almost think is kind of unfortunate because if you listen to a lot of people who got into technology young, and that kind of helped kicked off their career in technology, or at least accelerated it, for most of them the entry point was games, you know. And so having a dad who was like very techy, and we had some technology in the house, but as a kid I don't want to use technology to write papers or like do research. I want to use technology to do the thing I'm interested in, which was, video games. um, so yeah, that was kind of a negative, I think. And I've taken the opposite approach with my kids. My kids use technology. They use it to game. I encourage them. It's very monitored, and we keep an eye on all of it. But I think technology is never going to be less a part of our world. So trying to raise children that don't know how to use it, interact with it, use it in moderation, like that seems like a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. Stuck. So I gave my 9-year-old nephew hacks on his tablet. Now he's glued to it. What have I done? Well, maybe you just created a new programmer, a future developer, you know? I wish my dad was good with PCs. I'm teaching him. Well, I mean that can be fun too, right? It's always fun to have things to do with your folks. Hold on, I missed something. Or a nice sysadmin beard, you know? Yeah, there's a guy I follow on TikTok. I forget what his handle is. I want to say it's like TheOXR. That's how you spell his handle. Um, he's like a sysadmin or some sort of DevOps security engineer or something. And he has like a glorious, sysad beard. Um, yeah, I can't grow facial hair, man. I can grow it, but it's super patchy. It's always been this way. Maybe at some point I'll be I'll be able to grow proper man facial hair. Maybe at like 45 or 50 if I'm lucky. Gribu, what's the minimum laptop specs requirements for mobile app development? Honestly, Gribu, I'm reluctant to give you strong advice because I don't do mobile app development, so I don't know what's really involved in that world. But I would imagine if you got something with a decently updated processor, like an i7 12th gen, something recent on the Intel side, or maybe you want to go, on the Ryzen side, but something recent, like in the last 2 or 3 years, and then get like 16 gigabytes of RAM at the very least, at the minimum. Maybe reach for 32 if you can afford it. I would think that'd be enough. And maybe there's somebody in chat that might be able to offer better, more pointed advice than me. I primarily do web development, and for the majority of my development career, I guess you would say, I've been working on laptops that have been like i7s, like 11th to 14th gen, with mostly 16 gigabytes of RAM. So nothing crazy. So I don't know if that maybe helps you kind of benchmark what you might need to get. This meeting I have at 10 o'clock goes for 2 hours. I'm not really looking forward to it. I hate long meetings like that, especially when they're online. You know what I mean? Because you're just sitting in front of a screen, listening to people talk. Ah, such is life, though. Pays the bills. God, it could be so much worse, though. I tell you what, drinking coffee, working from home, sitting on meetings, it's a good life. What the hell is that? Procar referral? I don't know what I think. Didn't you weren't you here yesterday or the day before asking me for a referral? What do you want a referral to? That's the thing. I think I asked you that. Like, you want a referral for a job? You want a referral for like a discount somewhere? What do you want a referral for? Stux. I started with the techie stuff because of the game Angry Birds. When I got a Chromebook, I started doing some stuff with IT. I couldn't wait until I went to high school and got a Windows laptop. That's how it began for me. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I I did not. I was not in the tech world before 5, 6 years ago. I mean, I wasn't actively on the technical side of the tech world. When I got my laptop at 18, I fell in love with like tech in the general consumer sense, right? Um, but I wasn't doing anything programming, IT, coding, nothing like that. Other than like troubleshooting my mom's Wi-Fi from time to time. My focus growing up was always like more of a jockish focus. Like I mean I did exceptionally well in school, I had great grades, like I did well academically, but I wanted to, growing up, it was baseball, it was football, it was all the sports. In high school, it was baseball and football. Then my last 2 years of high school, it was what can I do to be the best football player I possibly can. And then when I got out of high school, my focus was all in on the fitness industry. Like I wanted to be a strength coach, wanted to be a personal trainer, wanted to open my own gym. Um, I thought that was gonna be kind of how I spent my 20s, and then I was gonna finish college, go to medical school, do my residency. Tech just was never on my radar um, until 18 or 2019 was the first time I really thought about maybe I could do something in tech professionally. And then it was still 2, 3 more years before I got a job in tech. And then it was 2 more years after that before I actually got a job where I was doing some coding for a living. Which again is so weird because I had a dad who grew up working in IT. So I don't know why that wasn't something we ever talked about at home. But yeah, I just never. Which is super weird too, because like when I grew up was like the height of like post internet bubble and like acceleration of Web 2.0 and like all the wealth and success and accumulation that was happening in that industry. It's just crazy that my parents were never like, hey, you our 3 kids, my younger brother, my older sister, and myself, they were never like, hey, y'all should really take a look at this tech thing. It's just kind of crazy. I got into web development because I wanted to make a Jarvis web assistant. My dumbass thought if you add an API key for Chat GPT, it would be smarter without actually implementing it. I thought, like, what the fuck? Why isn't it smarter? Well, I tell you what, if Jarvis ever becomes an actual thing, because that actually, like, I think that the first Iron Man movie came out in 2011. I would have been a senior in high school at the time. It was either 2000. Oh, it was 2008. So I would have been a freshman, a sophomore in high school. But I remember seeing that movie and thinking, I would like to be Tony Stark when I grow up. So if AI ever does become like Jarvis level AI, I will go all in. However, if you ever see Tony interact with Jarvis, Tony does not sit around and opine about the best prompt engineering or context engineering framework. He just speaks to it. like it's another human being, right? So until that becomes a thing, um, yeah, I'm not totally sold that all jobs will be taken in 5 years by AI. Xylos. Damn is. Damn is. What are you talking about there, man? Suicide. I got lucky with a full stack dev position out of uni with a bachelor's in physics. Oh, nice. Very cool. So you and me, so my degree is in biochemistry. So we're from that hard science camp, you know? And somehow we ended up over here in tech. But I always kind of feel kinship with other people who got hard science degrees because there tends to be a lot of shared experience there, you know, taking calculus, learning electromagnetism. In the chemistry world, everybody's kind of shared experience is organic chemistry. That's usually the defining moment between if you're going to stay in chemistry or biochemistry or if you're going to go to biology. uh, Organic chemistry is usually it's the thing that makes everyone figure out if they want to stay in life sciences or the hard sciences or if they want to pivot their degree. Simulation of quantum systems on quantum computers. Now that sounds difficult. That sounds like a lot of math. A lot of math. Math that's way over my head. Way over my head. But that sounds like a perfect what was I gonna say? It sounds like a perfect kind of marriage, right? Of like maybe your interests, skill set, and then also your education and your background, which is pretty cool. I love biochem. It's a gateway to understanding the brain. Yeah, biochem was a lot of fun. Uh, I wish I had spent a little bit more time in the lab during my degree during the 4 years that I was in college. Because some of the most fun I had was in my final capstone course. We basically the whole semester was performing an experiment, so it was like we spent most of our time in the lab that semester, and it was a ton of fun. We were basically working with a particular enzyme that were isolating and extracting from a cow's heart. But whoops, excuse me, sorry. Um, but yeah, I wish I would have spent more time in the lab. Science titles are very flexible when talking about job opportunities, or at least that is how I see it. Yeah, I think in general, degrees are pretty flexible. Like I think it's just you got to a lot of cases you just got to have one. A coil gun? Huh. I've never heard of that. Yeah, anytime you use the word gun, CS and biochem also go well together. Yeah, but I haven't done anything in the tech world that's been related to biochem. Before tech, I was in food science, and we did a lit. I mean, it was all kind of applied science. We didn't do any like real wet chemistry or anything that was what I would consider like real biochemistry in like a proper lab setting. It was all applied stuff. I have a couple friends that I went to school with in college that have gone on to be actual kind of bench chemists, like proper lab chemists. Yeah, and I don't know. My career trajectory went a completely different way. I interviewed for a couple kind of bench laboratory scientist positions, but nothing ever came of them. Yeah, you can find anything on YouTube. YouTube is just like a. If I don't know if you guys have ever read the book, the Mistborn trilogy, or at least one of those books by Brandon Sanderson. If not, it's okay. I was just going to use this analogy from that world, the Cosmere, where there's these things called ferrochemists, which are basically people who can like store their strength or abilities in metals and then draw on them. And then there's this particular race, I guess, of ferrochemists that like store their knowledge in these like they basically create like repositories of all human knowledge. And I think like YouTube is kind of that in the real world, where it's become this place of just like where people just, and the internet too, but the YouTube is one of those things because it's both visual as well as spoken, right? You get kind of like a much more immersive, a higher fidelity capture of the human experience and human knowledge on YouTube. Bioinformatics in pharma is a lot of money. I haven't done anything or ever looked into that, but that sounds like a field that could be lucrative. All right, I feel like it's gonna be. Oh yeah, 9:55. It's time for me to tell you guys goodbye and to go refill my coffee cup and to get locked in for this 2-hour meeting. Let's see. But if you study, for example, psychology, you maybe would not be that eligible to a development job. Yeah, I mean, yes, possibly. I think programming and coding is kind of interesting because while it is sort of more of a white-collar job, it has definable skills. You know what I mean? Like it has, like you can. It's to me, programming and coding is more akin to like carpentry, electrician, like because you can like demonstrate that you have a skill set, which to me means you don't necessarily need like a piece of paper. You can just show people like, yes, I can build software. So I mean, I know that a lot of jobs still have the degree requirement, but to me, I think it's kind of silly. All right, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. See you, Stux. Bye, Suicide Redemption. Wilo Gamer Pro. See you, man. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me, chatting. Nice to spend the morning together. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.